The Galactic Culinary Exchange, an annual event hosted by the Interstellar Union, was meant to foster understanding among species through the universal language of food. Delegates from hundreds of civilizations brought their finest cuisines, from the shimmering crystalline dishes of the Forvax to the aromatic vapors of the Lilithian steam fruits. This year, for the first time, humanity was invited to participate. The humans, known for their unpredictable and eccentric nature, arrived with their contribution in tow, a humble buffet of dishes that ranged from spicy curries to sweet pies, from grilled meats to fried snacks. As the event commenced, the elegant, tall-bodied Vraxan ambassador, Councillor Krelith, approached the human table with a skeptical glance. "Humans," he mused aloud, his voice a blend of disdain and curiosity. "What have you concocted for us? Your species, after all, has a reputation for peculiar tastes." The humans smiled politely, offering plates filled with their selections. "This is a small sample of Earth's diversity," explained Chef Elena Carter, the lead delegate for humanity. "We believe food is an expression of culture, creativity, and resilience." Councillor Krelith selected a dish labeled spicy buffalo wings, his nostrils flaring at the unfamiliar aroma. Other delegates followed suit, each choosing a human dish that intrigued or alarmed them. The human delegation watched in anticipation as the aliens took their first bites. The reaction was immediate. Krelith's face contorted in shock as his sensory appendages quivered violently. He dropped the plate, clutching his chest. What is this infernal heat?" he gasped. Another delegate, a gelatinous Thrixian, tried a slice of pizza and promptly began to vibrate uncontrollably, emitting high-pitched wails. "It's too intense!" cried a third delegate, coughing after a sip of Earth's black coffee. Panic spread among the non-human attendees as they clutched at water dispensers, fanned themselves desperately, or attempted to neutralize the unfamiliar sensations. Meanwhile, the humans exchanged confused glances. "I think they're experiencing spice," Chef Carter whispered to her assistant, stifling a chuckle. "This," Krelith wheezed, glaring at the humans, "is not food. This is unbridled madness, unsurvivable." Yet amid the chaos, a few aliens hesitated before taking another bite. One delegate, a small furred creature from the Omlac species, sniffed a piece of chocolate, nibbled cautiously, and then beamed. "It's different," they said, "but oddly delightful." The stage was set for humanity to explain itself, not just as a civilization of resilient survivors, but as culinary adventurers whose bold flavors reflected their daring spirit. The Galactic Culinary Exchange was one of the most prestigious events in the galaxy, a celebration of unity through the universal love of food. Delegates from hundreds of species gathered to showcase their culinary traditions, using their dishes to convey their history, values, and creativity. Each year, the event drew immense interest as the diversity of flavors and techniques presented a glimpse into the rich tapestry of galactic civilization. This year, however, was different. For the first time, humanity, a relatively new and enigmatic addition to the Interstellar Union, had been invited to participate. The decision had sparked controversy among more established species. Humans were known for their unpredictable nature, their strange adaptability, and their penchant for thriving under conditions that other species found unthinkable. The invitation raised one burning question. What could humanity possibly bring to the refined and harmonious exchange of intergalactic cuisine? The human delegation, led by Chef Elena Carter, arrived with a sense of pride and purpose. Elena, a renowned culinary artist on Earth, had been selected for her innovative approach to food and her belief in its power to unite. She and her team had spent months curating a menu that represented the incredible diversity of Earth's culinary heritage. Sweet, spicy, savory, bitter, and sour, all were present in abundance. As the event began in the breathtaking crystal conclave, a vast, shimmering structure suspended above a nebula, the humans found themselves surrounded by tables adorned with glowing, floating, and ever-changing dishes. The Vraxen had brought their famous crystalline delicacies, which emitted subtle notes of flavor that danced on the air. The Thrixians offered nutrient-rich gelatinous cubes that shimmered like liquid diamonds. The Ivarians, a carnivorous species, presented raw proteins, marinated in minerals, harvested from dying stars. The sheer elegance of the displays was overwhelming. By contrast, the human table appeared unremarkable. Simple plates and bowls displayed dishes that lacked the dramatic visual flair of their alien counterparts. No glowing vapors or floating orbs, just hearty, vibrant meals like buffalo wings, curries, barbecue ribs, chocolate desserts, and carbonated sodas. Yet there was something quietly confident in the way the humans presented their creations. The skepticism of the alien delegates was palpable. Councillor Kralith of the Vraxen, a tall, regal figure with hypersensitive sensory appendages, approached the human table first. His expression was a mix of curiosity and disdain. "Humans," he said with a condescending tone, "your reputation for chaos precedes you. I expected something crude, but this looks plain." Chef Carter smiled warmly, unfazed by his comment. "Our food isn't about appearances," she replied. "It's about the experience. Please, try something." Reluctantly, Kralith selected a dish labeled buffalo wings. The moment he took a bite, his expression shifted from skepticism to outright horror. His sensory appendages quivered violently as he gasped, clutching at his throat. What is this fire?" he cried, reaching for the nearest water dispenser. The commotion drew the attention of other delegates, who cautiously sampled different dishes. A Thrixian wobbled uncontrollably after trying soda, the carbonation sending ripples through its gelatinous form. A Ivarian coughed and snarled after biting into barbecue ribs, slathered in tangy sauce. Its usual tolerance for raw protein, no match for the unexpected intensity of human flavors. "This is madness!" Kralith exclaimed, his voice echoing through the hall. "Your species consumes poison. How have you survived this long?" The human delegation struggled to suppress their laughter. "It's not poison," Chef Carter explained patiently. "It's called spice. Humans love it because it challenges our senses. We've even turned it into a form of entertainment." "You enjoy this suffering?" another delegate asked incredulously, their antennae twitching in disbelief. "It's not suffering," Carter clarified. "It's excitement, it's adventure, and it's part of who we are as a species." Amid the chaos, a small furred Omlak delegate cautiously approached the human table. The Omlak, known for their love of sweetness, picked up a piece of chocolate and sniffed it curiously. They took a tentative bite and froze, their large eyes widening. "This," the Omlak said, their voice trembling with delight. "This is incredible." Their reaction caught the attention of other delegates. Emboldened, some returned to the table, their curiosity overcoming their initial shock. A Lilithian tasted ice, cream, and shivered with delight at the contrast of cold and sweet. A cautious Ivarian tried a steak and grudgingly admitted its depth of flavor. As the aliens sampled more dishes, they began asking questions. Chef Carter eagerly shared stories about humanity's relationship with food, how chili peppers evolved as a defense mechanism, yet became a beloved part of human cuisine, how coffee fueled centuries of innovation, and how chocolate symbolized celebration and connection. The delegates' perspectives began to shift. What they had dismissed as reckless and chaotic now appeared as a testament to humanity's ingenuity and resilience. These weren't just meals, they were a reflection of a species that thrived on transforming challenges into triumphs, turning even discomfort into joy. By the end of the evening, the human table was surrounded by curious delegates, all eager to learn more. Humanity's contribution had gone beyond mere sustenance. It had introduced an entirely new way of thinking about food, one that celebrated adventure, adaptability, and the courage to embrace the unknown. For the first time, the Galactic Culinary Exchange wasn't just a display of tradition. It was a stage for humanity, to demonstrate the unique spark that set them apart in the galaxy. As the uproar over humanity's food subsided, the intrigue deepened. Delegates from various species began observing the human table more closely, still skeptical but undeniably curious. The chaotic variety of dishes, ranging from sweet to fiery, seemed almost reckless to the other species, whose cuisines were meticulously designed around their specific biology. But as the evening wore on, the initial wave of shock gave way to a mix of fascination and tentative bravery. The humans, ever adaptable, leaned into the curiosity. Chef Carter orchestrated a live demonstration, a hallmark of Earth's culinary culture, where she prepared fresh dishes on the spot. Her movements were quick and precise, a dance of chopping, seasoning, and cooking. The smells wafting from her setup drew both reluctant and eager participants. "I present to you a human delicacy we call pasta carbonara," Carter announced as she served the creamy, steaming dish. "It's a comfort food, a representation of how humans create warmth and connection through meals." The first brave soul to try it was Rhinex, a member of the aquatic Ozari species. They scooped a portion with one of their many tentacles and examined it closely, their translucent skin pulsing with doubt. As they took a bite, their blue hue deepened, a sign of astonishment in Ozari physiology. "This is complex," Rhinex said. "Salty, creamy, and warm. I feel calmed." The simple dish sparked a ripple effect. Delegates who had initially dismissed the human table now lined up, cautiously sampling the offerings. A Lilithian, famed for their crystalline biology and aversion to thermal extremes, tried the molten chocolate lava cake and emitted a harmonic hum, their species' way of expressing delight. A Xanian warrior, known for their stoic demeanor, tried a steak and released an involuntary growl of approval. The rising action came to a head when Councillor Krelith returned, his earlier disdain replaced by a simmering curiosity. "Humans," he began, "your food is provocative, but I fail to understand how this chaos reflects your nature as a species." Chef Carter, unfazed, responded with a challenge. "Then allow us to explain through our ultimate creation, the Spice Challenge." At her signal, her team brought out a series of small, brightly colored bowls, filled with hot sauces of varying intensities, each labeled with escalating warnings. The final sauce was ominously titled the Reaper. "We humans have a tradition of pushing our limits for fun," Carter explained. "This challenge is about experiencing intensity, perseverance, and camaraderie. If you're brave enough, join us." The room grew silent as delegates exchanged wary glances. The idea of voluntarily subjecting oneself to discomfort for entertainment was baffling to most species, but a few stepped forward, their curiosity outweighing their caution. Among them was Krelith, determined to prove his superiority. The first level of the challenge was mild, a simple jalapeno sauce that brought a slight warmth. The delegates managed it with relative ease, though Krelith's sensory appendages twitched noticeably. As they progressed through the levels, the intensity increased, and the reactions became more dramatic. By the fifth level, labeled Inferno, beads of sweat dotted Krelith's head, and his once regal composure began to falter. Meanwhile, the humans were thriving. Laughter and camaraderie filled the air as they encouraged the participants and celebrated their perseverance. For humans, the challenge was less about pain and more about shared experience, a testament to their resilience and adaptability. By the time they reached the Reaper, only a handful of participants remained, including Krelith. The audience watched with bated breath as he took the tiniest dab of the sauce and placed it on his tongue. His reaction was immediate. His appendages flailed, his face turned a deep shade of crimson, and he let out an uncharacteristic roar. "What is this madness?" he gasped, reaching desperately for water. The humans erupted into cheers, not mocking, but celebrating his effort. Carter approached him with a glass of milk, offering it with a knowing smile. "It's not about winning," she said. "It's about trying. That's what humanity is. All about pushing limits, embracing challenges, and finding joy in the struggle." Krelith, though visibly shaken, nodded slowly as he sipped the milk. He looked around the room, noticing the energy and unity radiating from the humans and the delegates who had joined them. What had started as a chaotic spectacle now seemed like a profound lesson in resilience and community. The rising action concluded with a surprising declaration from Krelith. "Humans," he said, still regaining his composure, "your methods are unorthodox, but there is strength in your madness. Perhaps we have underestimated you after all." The room buzzed with agreement. Delegates who had once scoffed at humanity now looked at them with a mix of respect and admiration. Humanity's culinary chaos had revealed not just their unique flavors, but the indomitable spirit behind them. The climax began with an announcement that caught everyone off guard. The host of the Galactic Culinary Exchange, a venerable Xanthian, elder known for their impartial wisdom, approached the human delegation. Their shimmering, translucent form reflected the ambient lights of the crystal conclave as they spoke, their voice resonating with a gravity that silenced the entire hall. "Humanity," the elder declared, "your culinary creations have stirred a level of discourse and reaction unlike anything in the history of this event. As is tradition, the most audacious participants are invited to present a flagship dish for galactic recognition. Do you accept this challenge?" Chef Carter stepped forward, her heart pounding. The honor of such a presentation was monumental, but the stakes were equally high. Humanity had already surprised and baffled the galaxy. Now they had to leave an indelible mark. She nodded. "We accept." The humans huddled together, brainstorming. They needed a dish that encapsulated everything about humanity, its complexity, adaptability, and unyielding spirit. After a brief but intense discussion, they reached a unanimous decision. Their flagship dish would be Earth's most universal and beloved comfort food, one that reflected both ingenuity and simplicity: pizza. But this wasn't going to be just any pizza. They would create a galactic fusion, blending ingredients inspired by the diverse palates and cultures of the delegates themselves. It would be a culinary statement, humanity's ability to embrace differences and create unity through shared experiences. The preparation was a spectacle. Chef Carter and her team worked in synchronized harmony, kneading dough, slicing ingredients, and layering sauces and cheeses. Each topping represented a species present at the exchange: the crystallized nectar of the Vraxen, the bioluminescent fungi of the Thrixians, the tender starfruit flesh from the Ozeri. The Zarnian contribution was a fiery spice derived from their volcanic homeworld, a nod to humanity's love of heat. As the pizzas baked, the aroma began to fill the conclave. It was unlike anything the delegates had ever experienced, a symphony of scents that awakened primal hunger and curiosity. Conversations hushed as the first steaming slices were brought forth and presented to the council. Councillor Krelith, still recovering from the spice challenge but now more open-minded, was the first to take a slice. His sensory appendages quivered as he studied it, then took a cautious bite. For a moment he was still. Then his eyes widened. "This," he began, his voice unsteady. "This is balance." Encouraged by his reaction, other delegates followed suit. A Zarnian warrior growled in satisfaction as the fiery spice hit their tongue. A Thrixian emitted harmonic waves of approval, their gelatinous form rippling with delight. Even the reserved Ivarians nodded in silent appreciation, their predatory instincts momentarily soothed by the unexpected harmony of flavors. The room erupted into a cacophony of reactions, but the underlying theme was unanimous: awe. The Xanthian elder stepped forward again, addressing the humans. "You have accomplished what many thought impossible. Through your food, you have not only challenged our palates, but also shown us a new perspective. You have demonstrated that unity can arise from chaos, that diversity is not a weakness, but a strength. Humanity has left a mark on this exchange that will be remembered for generations." The moment was surreal. The humans had not only proven themselves, but had also redefined what the galactic culinary exchange could be. Their pizza, an unassuming dish by Earth standards, had become a symbol of interstellar unity and respect. As the delegates applauded, Chef Carter looked out at the crowd, her heart swelling with pride. Humanity's resilience and ingenuity had carried them through again, proving that even the simplest things, like a shared meal, could bridge the vastest of divides. The climax was not just a triumph for their food, but for their spirit as a species. As the galactic culinary exchange drew to a close, the ripple effects of humanity's unexpected triumph were already being felt. Delegates from across the galaxy lingered around the human table, sharing stories, asking questions, and marveling at the simplicity and brilliance of Earth's culinary philosophy. What began as ridicule had transformed into admiration, and the once dismissive alien delegates now spoke of humanity with a newfound respect. Councillor Krelith, whose earlier disdain had given way to awe, approached Chef Carter as the hall began to empty. His sensory appendages moved in a subtle pattern, a gesture of reverence among his species. "Human," he said, his voice softer than before. "I once believed your chaos symbolized recklessness, but now I see it is your strength. You embrace the unpredictable and turn it into harmony. That is extraordinary." Carter smiled, handing Krelith a small box. Inside was a slice of the pizza, carefully wrapped. "For your journey home," she said, "and a reminder that sometimes the simplest things carry the greatest lessons." As Krelith departed, other delegates followed suit, many clutching their own samples of human food or notes on Earth's culinary techniques. The exchange had not only introduced humanity's flavors to the galaxy, but had also sparked deeper conversations about resilience, adaptability, and unity, concepts that resonated far beyond the scope of the event. The Xanthian elder, standing at the center of the conclave, addressed the assembly one final time. "This exchange has taught us something profound, that greatness is not always found in complexity or tradition. Sometimes it is found in the courage to be different and the willingness to share that difference with others. Humanity, through their food, has reminded us of this truth." Back at the human quarters, Chef Carter and her team celebrated quietly. The event had been an overwhelming success, but they also understood its significance. Humanity had been underestimated, even ridiculed, but they had risen to the occasion, not through aggression or superiority, but through creativity, humility, and an unshakable belief in their unique perspective. Later that night, as Carter gazed out at the stars, she reflected on the journey. Humanity had always been about more than survival. It was about thriving in the face of adversity, about finding connection in the most unexpected places. The galaxy now understood that, and the seeds of a deeper respect had been sown. The resolution left the door wide open for the future. Whispers of intergalactic collaborations began to circulate. Delegates proposed introducing human food into their worlds, not just as a curiosity, but as a staple. The Galactic Council itself hinted at inviting humans to future exchanges to explore other aspects of their culture. As the humans packed up their station and prepared to leave the conclave, one thing was clear: this was not the end of their story. It was just the beginning of humanity's imprint on the galaxy, an imprint born not of conquest, but of connection, shared experience, and the simple, universal language of a good meal.